The trend cycles obviously never stop, but I think in particular with the rise of TikTok, it feels like beauty trends are so fast that even someone that is very beauty obsessed like I am, it for me, it even feels very difficult to keep up with. So in today's video, I thought I would just talk about how to build a timeless makeup capsule, a timeless makeup bag and collection, because at the end of the day, I think that our makeup should be usable and that it should make us feel good despite whatever trend is going on TikTok. This is really about how to build a makeup collection that makes you feel polished, that makes you feel your best, and has kind of a timeless aspect to it. It's always going to be on trend for you. And that actually brings me to the first step in building a timeless makeup collection, and that comes with some self-reflection. It's about understanding your personal makeup style. This is really going to vary from person to person. And when we talk about timeless, I actually want to reframe this idea of timeless. And I think what makes something timeless can actually be a lot more personal than we tend to think. So a lot of the beauty trends that we think of timeless are like a cat eye, a red lip. What is going to feel timeless for some people is really not going to feel timeless for others, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. Here are a few questions you might ask yourself when you're trying to nail down what your personal makeup style is. What are the makeup looks that you feel your best in? You could even go back and look at pictures of yourself that you felt your best that day, or selfies that you took, and think about the makeup that you were wearing when you have really felt good about yourself. What do all of those makeup looks have in common? A personal example that I have of this is about last year, early last year, I started incorporating a tiny wing into a lot of my eye looks, and I started realizing I would feel particularly confident when filming when I had that aspect of my makeup done, and I realized that it was really becoming a part of my personal makeup style, and it was an addition that really felt timeless for me. It was something that no matter what makeup look I had going, when I added that tiny wing, it felt like everything kind of came together. I also feel very similarly about the pop of blush that I typically wear within my makeup routine. When thinking about my personal style, a heavier hand with blush or a really nice pop of color when it comes to my blush, like not being afraid to add a little bit more blush, that has definitely become a feature of my blush that's been kind of a part of my signature style. And I think that what makes something timeless is not necessarily going with what is on trend, but what makes you feel your best. And that is a key takeaway in the video. Another question that you might ask yourself is, what makeup are you wearing the most? And just to consider your lifestyle overall. Think about when you're doing your makeup. Are you doing your makeup typically for work? Are you doing your makeup really only when you go out? Do these makeup looks feel significantly different to you? When do you like doing your makeup the most? Do you really love doing your makeup when you're going out, but when you're getting ready for work, you just don't feel really compelled to do your makeup? Oftentimes, these questions can really reveal the parts of our makeup routine as a whole that we really enjoy and we should lean into. Personal example for me is that I find that my typical everyday makeup look is not very different from my makeup look that I would wear going out. Because I'm always filming, I find that my makeup look that I would wear for filming, which is again like an everyday thing for me, that's not very different than my going out look. The makeup products that I buy, or the makeup products that end up feeling really inspiring to me and become a kind of timeless piece in my collection, those are ones that are in common throughout all of these different looks that I am putting together. I would go as far to say that if you are someone that buys the neutral eyeshadow palette because it feels like that's something that you should have, and yet it sits there and you never want to use it within these everyday looks, there's a good chance that's not actually a timeless piece within your makeup collection. One last question to think about when thinking about your personal makeup style is, what are your favorite looks to play with? I think that makeup in general should be something that should be fun, that should spark joy. And for me personally, there are items in my makeup collection that I might not use every day, but I really enjoy them when I am using makeup in a more playful way. So again, if you are someone that thinks you have to subscribe to the neutral eyeshadow, neutral nude lip, everyday, whatever, I would really encourage you to lean in and think about your personal style and not be afraid to incorporate color, for example. Buy the colorful eyeshadow palette, especially if it brings you joy while you're using it. By the way, for clarity, I don't think that my entire makeup collection as it is right now is timeless. I have a lot of products that I don't think I need, and I think I kind of want to talk about that in some upcoming videos. But what I'm trying to say is that if I do think about the products in my collection that are timeless, for me, it isn't just a red lip, the satin foundation, you know, these typical items that people recommend. Which brings me to step number 2, and I think is probably one of the most important steps in building a timeless makeup collection. Stop buying products that do not fit your preference. For example, if your favorite makeup YouTuber that you absolutely love loves to spot conceal and not wear foundation all over their face, so you buy the spot concealer that they use and you buy the makeup brush that they use for the spot concealer, but then when you sit down and do your makeup, you put on the medium coverage foundation and you don't need the spot concealer at all. You do not need the product. You don't need those items. What is timeless to you is something that is going to actually be functional for you. Remember when I talked about going back and looking at the makeup looks that you really enjoy? I would highly suggest thinking about the makeup products that were also being used in those looks and the techniques that you were using. When thinking about makeup preferences, it's not just about techniques, it really is about the product formulas that tend to work the best on us. So I actually did an entire video on this about thinking about products high pigmentation versus low pigmentation and whether or not you really enjoy building up your products in pigmentation or if you prefer high pigment products that you would potentially shear down. This is a huge piece of finding your makeup preference for formulas, so I will leave a card for that video, but I would love to talk more about it in depth if you guys would like to see that. Because for me personally, when I realized that I'm someone that enjoys high pigment products more than I thought, it really became kind of transformative to me when thinking about the makeup products that I buy. Step number 3 would be consider the makeup items that you run out of first. If I do my makeup, I am always putting on concealer, and there are days where I will completely skip foundation, but I will never wear foundation and not wear concealer. So I run out of concealer a lot. And if I'm doing any eye makeup, I am absolutely curling my eyelashes. So I need to have an eyelash curler in my makeup collection. The products that you end up running through the fastest really tells us where also we should be investing a little bit more money. So example for me, spending more money on my concealer is something that just makes sense. And having 2 eyelash curlers, honestly, I have more guys, that actually makes a lot of sense for me because if I don't have an eyelash curler, the rest of my makeup look kind of collapses, honestly. And again, I don't think that you need to invest a lot of money into makeup items at all. But if you are thinking of investing in a timeless makeup collection, it makes a lot of sense to me to put a little extra money in something that you're going to be using every time you do your makeup. I'd love to get into more about specific makeup products that I think are really good to invest in. If you guys would like to hear me talk about that, definitely let me know. But here's a pro tip that I have for you guys, and it makes all of this process For me, it makes it a lot easier. Look for the makeup items in your collection that are the dirtiest, that are the grimiest and the grossest. This is one of the grossest items I have in my collection. From far away, it doesn't even look that gross, but the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Bronzer, this is an expensive item, but I use it all of the time and it's something that I reach for a lot. Products that we use the most tend to be the messiest, and the messiest items, there is something about them that you enjoy. Figure out what about the formula, what about the color, what about the brand. Start looking at these items and see if you see a trend. What is going to feel the most usable and timeless in your makeup collection are those items that you always gravitate back to. Again, what makes something timeless in our collection is so intertwined with our personal style and our personal needs. Which brings me to step 4, and this is something that I think we've kind of been talking about, which is do buy the products that you love and invest in them. There are so many people, and I know this is a little bit of a hot take, but I think a lot of people have an item in their collection that they absolutely love, and instead of investing their money into repurchasing it because they love it, they'll spend almost an equal amount of money trying to find a dupe for it. I do believe that good formulas are worth saving your money for. And of course, again, I do think that there are formulas out there at a more accessible price point that are beautiful and obviously can be way better than a lot of high-end items. If there's something that you know you love, I don't think there's anything wrong with waiting and saving your money to buy the item that you truly want and that truly ends up being something you use. Because at the end of the day, buying a makeup item because it's more affordable, but it's sitting there is kind of a waste. Also, when we talk about the makeup items that we invest in, I think it's about investing in the makeup items that we can depend on. That's something that is kind of has always been a huge part of my channel, are the dependable, consistent items. And I've actually gotten, honestly, understandably, a lot of pushback with people saying, you know, you're talking about a lot of the same items over and over again. I definitely understand how that could get a little bit boring, but here's the thing. I like to invest in the items that are dependable, that have formulations that are consistently beautiful. And when we're not investing in items that have kind of this dependable quality, I think it kind of builds this anxiety around our makeup routines when we're just not sure how the makeup is going to turn out. And I would love to talk more about that in an upcoming video, this kind of like performance anxiety with makeup and the process of putting it on, the process of certain formulas kind of fueling that. At the end of the day, what is a good investment for me might not necessarily be the perfect investment for you. And again, I think that's why like going back to some of the other steps we've talked about is really important to kind of nailing down those items that feel like a good investment for you. But let me talk about some of some of the products that I think are really good to invest in. I love a good multi-purpose brush that is very dependable, that is really soft and can be, yeah, it can be used in a multitude of ways for foundation, for blush, for bronzer, for the eyes. The IT Cosmetics one is one that comes to mind when I think of this. An eyelash curler that actually holds a curl and will not damage my eyelashes, especially if I'm going to be, again, curling my eyelashes every time I do my makeup. I need to make sure that the eyelash curler is of good quality. The same thing goes with my concealer. I've talked about this for a very, very long time on my channel. I have hereditarily deep set eyes and dark circles and dryness as well. And it's just always been kind of this battle. I do not settle for a concealer that does not fit my needs anymore. So again, this is a very personal kind of journey, and I definitely encourage you guys to, again, go back and think about those items in your makeup collection that bring you a lot of joy, that you get a lot of use out of. But in step 5, we're also going to take stock of what we actually have. You might be surprised. At least I always find I'm surprised. That could just be because I have a lot of makeup, let's be honest. But sometimes I think that when we take stock of what we already have, we realize that there is kind of this underlying collection and a base of our makeup collection that never goes out of style, that we always want to reach for, that always feels like us. So, make room if you need to. I'm definitely doing a lot of declutters on my channel personally because I've just been feeling like I want to pare down a bit. Check out your makeup drawer. Maybe there is the timeless makeup collection already building and the general clutter could be getting in the way of the vision. And step number 6, and I think kind of the step that really inspired this entire video, is really to ask yourself, what looks and feels good on me? And go with that. Throw the trends out the window. What seems typically timeless to some person is not going to feel timeless to another person. I actually saw a TikTok talking about Anna Wintour and how a lot of the pictures that she's in, you can't really tell what year it was because she kind of avoids trends and she really doubles down on her own personal style. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to do this video and talk about makeup timelessness. Here's a couple of examples that kind of come to my mind. People used to tell me for years, really throughout a lot of like high school especially, to dye my hair. And I never did because there was something about me and my hair color that felt truly me. I'm so glad that I never did. Also, I got these comments before I had my YouTube channel, but especially once I started posting on the internet, to manicure my eyebrows in a certain way. And I never have. I've always gone with what I personally enjoyed. I understand it's not going to be for everyone, but when I look at the way my personal style has, the personal evolution of my makeup style, my hair color, the way my eyebrows are, these are kind of these consistent pieces that I've incorporated into my style and into my routine to really amplify them. I think when you're going with your gut and what truly makes you feel like you and makes you feel your best, that is where you get to that kind of timeless place and you build that makeup collection that you can just pull out a couple of things willy-nilly and always feel polished. I actually got a very interesting comment on one of my recent videos about red blush. I absolutely love red blush, but one of the comments that I got was, you don't need to wear red blush, especially if you don't feel like it looks good on you. And I kept thinking about that comment because I think it's so true. Despite whatever the it color is of the moment, I never bought any of the baby pink viral blushes because I just knew that they wouldn't really look amazing on me. However, I do think that there are ways to play around with trends and do it in a way that feels very authentic to you. I've been thinking about this a lot and I'd love to do a video on this. So before you go, make sure to leave me a comment down below if you'd like to see that video. I've been thinking a lot about it and I think it's really interesting. But overall, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you back. And right before I go, for all of my viewers that watch a lot of my content, you're probably like, Amanda, where are you right now? I'm not in my studio. I'm not at home. I should be back pretty soon, but in general, my filming setup might vary in the next couple of videos, and then in a couple of months, it is going to change because I am going to be moving. So just a little update for you guys. So if the lighting wasn't perfect in this video, that might be why. If things are a little bit different, I mean, obviously I don't have a huge green backdrop. They're a little different. But overall, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.